good to get some guys back out there on the grass, moving around. We'll update you as the week goes on in terms of their availability, but good to see some guys in uniform and get some work in and just making sure that we're constantly trying to get a little bit better each day. So that was the mindset today. Got some crisp workout in, and then they'll be off tomorrow, and then we start our preparations for Washington really on Wednesday. So with that, I'll take any questions.
First question today will go to Mary Kay Cabot.
Hey, Coach, it seems like, a little extra exciting for you guys to be able to have Mack Wilson back so much earlier than it looked like when he originally went down with that knee. So can you just talk about him in particular, what he'll bring to the table when he comes back, and just how great it was to see him back out there?
That's right, Mary Kay. You hate when your guys go down with any type of injury, and then when you think it might be long-term, and then we got good news on Mack. So to see him back out there, it was really outstanding. And, he brings energy. He brings some skills as a athlete, running around, hitting people. So excited to have him back out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Your next question goes to Tony Grossi.
Hi, Kevin. Would you say you have an unspoken rule that a player who's missed practice for 2-3 weeks has to practice a certain number of days before he gets back, or is it individual case by case?
Yeah, Tony, we try to treat it case by case, and so many of those injuries are different when they're coming back. It could be a muscle injury, it could be a bone injury. So you got to really work with the medical staff and figure out what the guy needs to get ready. And then, like always, you got to protect players from themselves, because if you ask a player if he's ready, most of the time they're going to say yes. So you got to really rely on the medical professionals there.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. The next question will go to Fred Greetham.
Hey, Coach. Porter Gustin's kind of a feel-good story, came off a practice squad and wasn't on a team. Can you just talk about, how far he's come and what you're seeing him, and feel comfortable with him stepping in place to those guys?
Well, with Porter, you're going to get an honest day's work, and the effort is there from whistle to whistle, snap to whistle, I should say. He's a very diligent worker. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. And really throughout training camp, he just kept making plays. And it's as simple as that. He just kept making plays every chance he got. He was out there, and I think it's starting to show up a little bit in these games.
Jake Trotter, you're up.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. Kareem and Chubb have been incredibly explosive in the running game this year, especially after contact. I know the offensive line definitely deserves a lot of credit for that, but what makes them so effective after contact? And then how much of an advantage is it for you to have two of those guys instead of just one?
Well, you mentioned it, Jake. In our run game, we're trying to block them all up, and we're trying to be perfect in our scheme. And this double team's going to that guy, and this guy's pulling for that guy, or this combination of the zone game's working up to that guy. But they got pretty good defense over there on Sunday. So with our runners, we ask them to make some dirty runs. There's a guy unblocked, or there's an arm hanging out there they got to run through. And it's not always going to be perfect. When it's perfect, these guys can make some big-time plays. And even when it's not perfect, I feel confident in their ability to gain some yards on some dirty runs.
Scott Petrick has our next question.
Hey, Kevin, with Kevin Johnson coming back, obviously his injury is unusual. Is there any extra precautions that you guys need to take with him?
I don't know about extra precautions, Scott. I know we've listened to the docs every step along the way, and he was cleared to practice today. So we'll just continue to do that and take it truly day by day.
And then how valuable is the experience he could bring, especially in that nickel spot, because he's been in the league for a while now?
Yeah, I think you saw it. We all saw it prior to his injury. He's a savvy player, and he's not very old, but he has some reps. He's got some pelts on the wall. So I think he was able to make some plays, and we'll be excited when we do get him back out there.
Nate Ulrich, we'll go to you next.
Hey, Kevin. I wanted to ask you about Greedy Williams. With him coming back and Terrence Mitchell playing well, and I know he was one of the guys you said had a good performance against the Bengals. Does that make it a competition for, which of those guys is going to be in your starting lineup with Denzel Ward, or do you go back to Greedy because that's the way you started? How do you view that situation now?
Nate, I know on a depth chart you got to list 2 starting corners, but it's a good problem for us to have guys that we feel very confident in to play. So we'll work through that as Greedy's health becomes apparent to us.
And just, the value of that quality depth that you guys have at corner to get him healthy and give you guys those options. How huge could that be for your defense?
Yeah, the NFL it's a tough league, and you have injuries, and it's always who's that next guy up. So to be able to build depth at all of these positions, guys are going to be counted on. Whether it's last week, this week, next week, you're always going to be looking for guys to step up.
Zach Jackson, we go to you.
Hi, Coach. 2-part question. Can you speak to the importance of wide receivers blocking in this offense and in general? And also, is it fair to say that blocking is a big reason Kadero has earned as many snaps as he has?
I'll answer the second part first. No, I wouldn't say that Kadero's earned his snaps based on blocking. As for the first part, I think Coach O'Shea does an outstanding job coaching that room about run blocking, and it's a big part of it is mentality and the want-to and the will-to. And good runs occur when the receivers are doing an okay job, and great runs occur when they're really working. And that's when you see some big runs rip off when guys are botting them up. And I thought there were some great examples the other night of guys not letting their guy make the play. As simple as that. And I thought the guys were really grinding all on the outside.
Dan Lavi, we'll go to you.
Hey, Coach, it seemed like Thursday night you guys used a lot more pre-snap motion than maybe you did in Baltimore. What are you trying to accomplish with, using that a lot, and kind of how does that fit in your scheme? How important is that to what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, I think shifts and motions, Dan, you always they want to have a purpose. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. So there's certain run schemes, there's certain pass schemes where moving the strength of the formation, maybe moving a tight end, moving a wide receiver, may cause some conflict to the defense, but it should be simple for the offense. What you don't want to do ever in those shifts and motions is make things hard on yourself. So we've tried very hard as an offensive staff to put a plan together that makes life hard on the defense. And that's sometimes those shifts and motions is a big part of that.
Thanks.
We'll go back to Mary Kay.
Hey, Coach, after the game, Nick Chubb mentioned that he was talking about him and Kareem and mentioned that Kareem's so great, he would like to see him get involved earlier too. I guess, how cool is it for you that you have 2 guys like that really want the best for each other and aren't worried in any way, shape, or form about who's getting more touches or anything like that?
Yeah, America, it's pretty rare to have selfless players like that at that position. And I would just tell you that attitude permeates throughout the building. These guys want to win. They want to put the team first. And the really good teams I've been on have that attitude as well.
And how nice is it that, like Stump said last week, Nick can go out there and leave it all out there on one play because he knows that Kareem can come in and do the same thing on the next play. This is kind of a luxury, obviously, to have for you.
Yeah, I think that's important offensively that your starters understand that there's a guy at the ready should you need a blow. And we have a ton of confidence in those guys.
Tony Grossi, your line's open.
Okay, I got a quick 2-bagger here. Kevin, you've been grinding since your team got back to Berea. I wondered what your weekend was like. Were you just a father, or did you have business on your mind the whole weekend?
I was a dad, but I did some TV scouting yesterday, watching the Washington football team versus Arizona. I did some scouting from my back porch.
Second question about Baker. I know you guys know the numbers. When he throws fewer than 30 passes, his record appears to be a lot better. Do you subscribe to that? And do you strive to keep your quarterback from throwing 60 times like your opponent did?
I think that oftentimes Tony speaks to a team that's behind and trying to get back into a game. we go into with the mindset of whatever it takes to move the ball down the field, honestly. So sometimes it's going to be heavy runs, sometimes it's going to be heavy passes. We feel like that's the matchup that week.
We'll take two more. We'll go to Jake Trotter and then Tom Withers. Jake, your line's open.
Yeah, Kevin, back to Chubb and Hunt. What kind of pressure does it exert on a defense when you have two guys that can really create on the dirty plays, like you said, instead of primarily just one?
Jake, I look at it, it's good to have two of everything. A lot of teams, have one corner, so you go attack the other guy, or they got, one linebacker. So like anything, I think depth at any of these positions helps you sustain for 60 minutes. So, you mentioned the two runners. We're real comfortable having either one of those guys or both on the field at any given moment.
Tom Withers for our last question.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Coach. Coach, yesterday was a reminder. It was kind of a cringeworthy day for injuries around the league. Does that serve as just a reminder to you guys about stretching? And in any way, does it make you reevaluate any kind of training when you see a rash of injuries like that?
I think we spent a lot of time throughout the year thinking about the health of our players and how best we can take care of them. And that speaks to the medical staff. It speaks to the strength staff, how we structure our schedule for recovery. But it's a physical game, and injuries are a part of this game that we all hate. And I hated to see some of the guys that went down yesterday for what looks like the year. I mean, that's not good for them. That's not good for our game. But the sad part of it is it's part of the game. So much of it is we try like crazy to make sure we're taking care of our guys. And then when they do happen, you hurt for those players. They also understand that it's the next man up mentality, as tough as that is sometimes.